gonna die. Go too fast. I'm taking 3.
I'm going for the St. Louis now.
Oh no!
Son of a bitch.
You get your 2?
Yeah.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thotgor here, of course. And there are 2 things that you are noticing right now that you're just blowing your minds. We'll address the first one. Yeah, I'm in a carrier. Look at that. It's a Hosho. We'll get to that. The next is obviously that new microphone has arrived, so we get to listen to much better audio quality in terms of the commentary that I can provide. So that, amazing. Basically, I got a really nice deal on Amazon Prime when they had their, I forget what it was, some event they had on Wednesday this week. Anyway, got it. Amazing deal and very happy with it. Now, the aircraft carrier. Yeah. Well, I don't know what changed. I've been talking about getting an aircraft carrier for a while, as you may know or recall. I finally decided just to go ahead and do it. I mean, I'd been grinding out the shores for a while, and I was getting kind of bored, and, I do have a lot of ships to sail in, and I usually do sail in the same ships over and over, so it does get boring. So I just decided, what the hell, right? I'm just gonna get in there, gonna do it, and I'm gonna get myself a carrier. So I went right ahead and got the Hosho. I knew I was gonna go to the Japanese line. I don't really have too much of an interest, I guess, in the U.S. carrier line at this point. If I had to choose one, it was gonna be the Japanese. And again, I mean, it's not from a standpoint within the game, which one is better than the other, although it's arguable which one is better than the other. I did it again because I just really like the Japanese Navy ships from the World War II era. So those were some of my favorite ships. So I went ahead and purchased the Japanese carrier. Now the Hosho at Tier 4 is really, I was surprised once I figured out how to play it. I mean, you will see some pretty bad mistakes here made by myself in this battle, but you'll also see some pretty good gameplay too. But I was still learning in it, and so I was, the first 2 games were really rough, but then as I got the hang of it, I was really quite surprised how good it was. Especially in a battle like this, where there's 2 aircraft carriers, 1 on each side. I'm in the Hosho, and I've got an enemy Langley to oppose. Now, the Langley is going to be an easy ship for for the Hosho to deal with. I have got my 1 fighter, my 2 torpedo bomber squadrons, right? All my damage is going to come from torpedo bomber squadrons. Now, on the Langley side, that player has 1 fighter, 1 torpedo, and 1 dive bomber. So if I just go ahead and take out their fighter squadron, which you can see on the minimap, the fighter squadron is coming at me right now. If I go ahead and take them out, I don't have to worry about any more fighter aircraft coming in and shooting down my torpedo bombers. So it works out pretty well. Now, I have since moved into the Tier 5 Japanese carrier, and I should soon have the Tier 6 one. But at Tier 5, this whole happy situation here changes. You can see I'm doing some manual torpedo dropping. Now, that is something that took me a while to figure out. You can see I'm getting a pretty good strike here on this player, but it could have been better. I'm still kind of working on the leads. It took me a while to figure out the manual torp drops, and I actually had to go back and watch some videos so that I could reference, especially the new changes that they made to carriers, right, since one of the more recent patches. I needed to go back and reference all that before I just sort of threw myself into a game. Also, something I noticed playing carriers, which is hilarious, is suddenly, when you're the carrier player, you notice how often everyone on your team has an opinion about what the carrier should and should not be doing. Where the carrier should and should not go. It is pretty hilarious just to watch. I mean, I'd never respond to it or anything like that, right? It's usually, normal trolls and stuff. They're just trying to egg people on and whatnot. So just let them have their fun. Let them think what they want to think. I'm not concerned. So I'm going to do what I want. That's just the way it's going to happen. But you can see in this map, obviously I am going to be focusing here on the southern half of the map, right? This is where I spawned and where a lot of my team members are. And I really wanted to support that sea cap zone. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I just finished shooting down all of the American fighters, which is fantastic. I was very surprised over this. You can see the fighters are returning to the aircraft carrier now. And then, of course, cycling the torpedo bombers so that we can get these guys back out. Carriers, though, even at the tier 5 level and some battles at the tier 4 level are, I think, and you know, correct me if I'm wrong, obviously, and based on just my very limited carrier play here, you know, last time, this is the first time I played carriers since closed beta. The last time I played carriers, I made it up to the Saipan, which used to be the tier 6 aircraft carrier. I made it up to the Saipan and then stopped, had enough at that point. But this time around, you know, things are a little different. But anyway, in my opinion, aircraft carriers are still really flawed. Because at these tiers, like, let's say like I got lucky with this one, right? Hosho versus Langley, that's fine. But let's say, for example, I didn't get lucky and I had Zihu on my side and myself, my Hosho, and we were against a Bogue and a Langley. And the Bogue is air superiority. Yeah, we lose. That's, as long as the carrier, the American carrier captain, is halfway competent, we lose, because there's nothing we can do about it. Those fighters will just come shoot down our fighters, and then we have nothing to fend off any, you know, sort of attack or chasing down of our strike aircraft. So it's over at that point in time. So yeah, there's still that function here in the game, and I've been talking to Rummel about it as well, and Rummel has been saying, oh, you know, well, Thotgor, you got to do this, and you got to go there, and this is what I would do, and it's like, you don't know, man, you don't know. So I don't know, it still has that flaw in it, I suppose. Anyway, you see, I did get a kill there on an enemy battleship, I think. It wasn't too bad. I mean, my allies there really did most of the work, and I was surprised that I actually got the hits and the kill, because I figured I'd let go of my torpedoes too soon, and it was too far away from the battleship, and they had time to maneuver. I got lucky there anyway. We still have our fighters out on the prowl. We're looking around for more enemy aircrafts that we can engage and shoot down, because at this point in time, if I've shot down the American fighter planes, they should only have maybe one squadron left. And hopefully anyway, one squadron left, and you know, I should be able to take on them. I still have 2 fighters in reserve, I believe, and then obviously, you know, I've got some torpedo bombers in reserve, so not too bad. We're still doing decently here. One thing I do really enjoy doing as an aircraft carrier, and I make a real point to do it in every battle I play in, is to use my, because I'm Japanese, my fighters aren't gonna, I'm not gonna be taking air superiority here, let's be real. So my fighters are not only defense against other enemy fighters, but I use them as scouting, obviously, right? And I know that that's something that, you know, carriers should be doing anyway, but I do find myself in situations where they're not doing it, or maybe they are doing it, but, you know, they're not near me where I want them to be scouting at that time. So I'm keeping an eye on the minimap, right? And I'm trying to, especially down here in the south, where this is where I'm supporting, I'm trying to always keep at least one enemy lit. And you can see, you know, I just got my fighters parked over C right now. We've got some enemies lit up. I've got some torpedo bombers coming in, so this is a pretty good positioning. I mean, looking back and talking about it now, I would probably, you know, want to move my fighters a little further towards the east there and closer to the enemy to scout out anything behind there. But yeah, I mean, another thing I haven't gotten into the habit of doing is hunting down the enemy aircraft carrier as soon as the battle starts. That's the last thing on my mind, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, especially as a Japanese carrier, because if, you know, if I'm in like situation where it's really bad is when you get to tier 5 in the Zihu. That Zihu is going to get destroyed by Bogues, just destroyed by a Bogue with air superiority. But anyway, if I'm in my Zihu and there's an enemy Bogue on, you know, the enemy team, should I be taking my strike aircraft and, you know, trying to get that strike off on the Bogue and sink the Bogue as quick as possible, then focus on the enemy fleet? I don't know, and I haven't been doing that. I've been focusing on supporting my team and killing as many enemy ships as I possibly can before, you know, battle ends or I die. Because people love to kill aircraft carriers, I know I do, so, you know, you got to grain of salt, I suppose. But I'd be interested in knowing. You can see there, right? That was a perfect example of how I'm still struggling with my manual drop torpedoes, right? Still learning, obviously. And then, I mean, this player was able to just go right by them. It is an enemy cruiser, so, you know, a little maneuverable. I think it was a Karlsruhe, so it can get around, I suppose. But still, whatever. We do have a pretty good hold on the northern cap. You can see, in fact, the A point, right? Some of my allies have actually pushed beyond that point, so that's pretty good. We have an ally in the B zone who's actually starting to cap the B zone as well, so this is pretty fantastic as well. Not too shabby there, but we are going to continue to focus here on the south, and then once the south is taken care of, I think the last ship is that enemy cruiser we're looking at now, but once that's taken care of, yeah, I want to go north and I want to start helping out the allies in the north, because if you notice, there were only 4 allied ships remaining. Myself, 2 battleships, and an allied cruiser. So we need to do something here. I need to start killing things. We do have, 2 enemy cruisers. We still have the enemy Langley on the enemy team there, and we have 2 battleships, 2 cruisers, and the carrier. Yeah. Anyway, shots are out, or I guess torpedoes are on the way. That sounds so strange saying. On the way for that cruiser, and those look like they're going to hit. I'm just repositioning my ship here because I want to make sure that I keep up with the fleet and with the movements that are going on around me. I'm still experimenting with, how close do I actually want to get, but I'm definitely not, just staying in the back, kind of just driving from east to west along the edge of the map. No. No, I'm definitely moving around here, trying to keep up with events as they're happening. So I did manage to get the kill there on the cruiser, obviously, and then while that was taking place, my allies did come in and take the B zone, so that's fantastic. So we're still going to, well, rather, my teammate is still going to continue towards the C cap and hopefully cap that. In the meantime, you saw my fighters start engaging the last group of fighters from the Langley, so this is fantastic. And then I'll be able to start taking down the torpedo bombers and the dive bombers. One thing I've been trying to do with my fighters as well is targeting the torpedo bombers first as priority. That being said, if the dive bombers are closer to my fighter planes, then I will go for the dive bombers as well. But generally speaking, I'm trying for the torpedo bombers. Those are the things that I want to get gone. So there we go. You can see as well down there that my allied cruiser, the Svetlana, I believe, just managed to avoid those torpedoes, only to die by the dive bombers. My fighters weren't able to come in there in time and save that player, so that is unfortunate. Now it is just me and my friendly battleship, so we have a bit of work to do ahead of us here. So we do have an enemy battleship here. We're going to try and get some torpedoes off on the player and then get those torpedo bombers back. One thing that I have started doing here as well, because you notice right now I'm kind of cycling the torpedo bomber squadrons, right? One goes in. You see the whatever number squadron that is, just got those hits on the battleship on the way back, and then I have another one on its way to target. Well, I've actually just been grouping them up and trying to get all the torpedoes in as close as possible and get all 8 off at the target at once. And by doing it that way, I can just completely eliminate a battleship if I aim it properly, and if the battleship player is a bit of a potato, it works a little better. So this is something I've been working on as well. I mean, again, I'm new to carriers, but speaking more about carriers as well, I do enjoy, I guess, the fact that I'm playing carriers, not because I'm enjoying the gameplay, because the gameplay, right? How many times I've been in a carrier game now where I'm just like, oh, I just want to get in like a ship and go down there and shoot that guy, but anyway, I enjoy seeing how it's done and knowing how it's done and learning how it's done. It's important too when you're thinking about strategy and tactics for the game. You really have to, if you want to talk strategy and tactics and have any sort of meaningful contribution to a conversation surrounding that, you really do have to understand all of the classes of ships. Even though carriers may be, well, for me anyway, the least liked class, I really, not a big fan, but it's important to know how to do it and, to understand how it works, because it's going to make your play better. Like, for example, playing this, I was talking about, like, playing carriers, I was talking about the manual drop of torpedoes, right? Well, I had no idea how that actually looked beforehand, before I actually, started playing a carrier. No idea. So I knew before that as long as I kept turning into the planes, as long as I had time, I could turn into the planes, and that would always throw off their aim, but I didn't know why. Now I know why, right? It kind of worked out, it's kind of obvious, right? And if you keep doing that, you can really throw off the enemy torpedo bombers. And in addition to that, I mean, you can, when enemy torpedo bombers are coming at you, you can start, you know, thinking about this and judging this and making those corrections and adjustments in your mind so that when they get to you, you're already, you know, much better prepared for it. So, you know, I really do see value, for me anyway, in playing these few carrier battles that I've played. I am going to continue along with my carrier line. I mean, the ultimate goal here is to become good enough with a carrier that I don't suck, I suppose. I don't want to be astounding with it, but I mean, and as well internally within the clan, we really do need like carrier players, and we don't have very many, so I figured, what the hell, I'm going to do that, and so at the very least, you know, I can provide that support if needed. Obviously, I prefer my cruiser, but, you know, if I have to, I'd do it. Anyway, we did finally manage to take down a few of the enemy ships, and we took out another enemy battleship, so this is fantastic. You can see my fighters are hunting down an enemy torpedo bomber squadrons, which are on the way for me, actually. They were searching for me, and I've got my torpedo bomber squadrons out and about, and we're still focusing on this enemy battleship. I want to really try and get the enemy battleship gone, and I know that this is a perfect opportunity to go off and hunt the carrier, but the only thing that that's going to accomplish is, you know, leaving my allied battleship alone to face off this enemy battleship. So I wasn't willing to do it. I really wanted to stick around, help support my friendly battleship here, do what I can, and then once the enemy battleship is gone, maybe then I can focus on the carrier. There we go. Enemy battleship is gone. That's my third kill, 82,000 damage, so not too shabby at all. I was actually quite surprised with some of these games, because, you know, if I can get those quick, early manual torpedoes off early in the game, then I can do a whole crap ton of damage really quickly. So I'm, you know, the damage potential here on carriers, which I'm sure is no surprise to many of you, but the damage potential here for carriers is quite something. Anyway, we're gonna come in on the Langley now. Doesn't look like a good angle at all, does it? Yeah, that was crap. Look at this. Look at this guy. He's just gonna slowly turn and avoid the torpedo. So it wasn't so great, and you can see again, you know, exactly what I was saying, still trying to figure out the whole manual drop thing. Especially, you know, coming, the approach angle of your target is incredibly important, and you got to kind of plan that out, but you also have to adjust it while the enemy ship is moving around, or, you know, if other enemy ships start to pop up, you want to be able to see those guys so that you can react, right? Because if Cleveland suddenly pops up near the ship that you were attempting to line up on, your day is going to go really poorly. Really poorly indeed. So there we go. I managed to shoot down the last of the Langley planes. I think it was the last. Maybe he has a few more and he's just not letting them out. I'm not sure, but I shot down basically everything he put up into the sky, so that's not too bad at all. We have one final torpedo bomber squadron coming in. I wasn't going to play around with this one. Try and do the manual drop. I'm just going to do the auto drop on it. I do with the Zihu, right, because you get the dive bomber squadron. I do the automatic drop with those guys because I haven't figured that one out yet, but still working on it. Anyway, my torpedo bombers never make it. Victory is ours. So a pretty good game, I thought. Not too bad at all. About 82,000 damage, 162,000 credits, 13 torpedo hits, and the 3 kills. I did end up finishing second overall, just below the Arkansas Beta, who happened to survive with me as well, so that is not too bad at all. And then if what was the damage? The damage, oh yeah, 82,000. So the damage wasn't too bad at all. You can see I did a bit of damage there, some enemy battleships. More importantly for myself, though, is that I was able to get a bunch of credits and experience, and that was actually the second last game in the Hosho I played before I went ahead and purchased the Tier 5. Anyway, I do hope you enjoyed today's video. You know, remember to leave any comments you have for me in the video comment section below. I love reading those and responding back to them. Hit the old like button if you did like today's video. Hit subscribe if you are not a subscriber. And as always, I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day.